In the name of God, Creator, Redeemer, and Animator of life. Amen. The summer of 1976 was slated to be the best ever. We had a clear picture in our minds, my best friend Tony and me, of the fort in the woods that we would build together. We had mapped it all out, found the perfect spot, drafted all the plans on graph paper. Do you remember that? Graph paper? Made lists of construction materials and how we would make it all happen. Yes, indeedy, we were going to build the best ever fort anyone anywhere in the world had ever seen. I'm not sure if rising fourth graders should have been using machetes and power tools, but we did. Our parents were, I guess, what you might say, of another generation. They sent us out the door in the summer and didn't expect to see us back until supper time. I don't think that they were any less concerned about our well-being. They just seemed to be less aware of all the details of our comings and goings. So on that last day of school, we loaded up our wheelbarrow full of tools and headed into the woods and went at it. For days on end, we whacked our way through brush and undergrowth. For let's face it, if you're going to build the best ever fort in the world, you need a good space. We hauled wood and all sorts of odd bits of furniture from our parents' garage, even 2 sections of a stockade fencing to create some privacy. We worked and worked for days on end, and until at long last we had done it. The very best ever fort anyone anywhere had ever seen was completed. We invited our parents and our siblings and some friends and a few odd neighbors, such as Mrs. Brown and Sandra Sample, for the grand opening. We served, of course, Kool-Aid and peanut butter sandwiches. What a great summer this would be. And then it happened. Wham! The big fight. The big fight. A full-on turf battle. All these years later, I cannot remember what started that fight between me and my best friend Tony. However, I do remember how horrible it all felt. Everything had come apart. The dream, the plans, the friendship, the awesome ideas we had for a wonderful summer together. Even the fort had begun to come apart. That piece of stockade fencing was moved to create a dividing line down the middle of the fort, and we sat each on our own sides, brooding at each other. Like those iconic lyrics from Billy Joel's Scene from an Italian Restaurant, how Brenda and Eddie were still going steady by the summer of '75, but they started to fight when the money got tight, and they just didn't count on the tears. In my wildest dreams, I never expected that my friend and me could end up in such a place. And in all our planning, we had never counted on the tears. In my nearly 50 years of life, I have experienced far worse breaches of relationship, human hurt, and alienation. I've known loss of friendship and community when the stakes were much higher. Still, I've kept a memory of that day all these years. I think mostly because it was my first real glimpse of what is on the line when our human communities begin to fall apart. When we separate one from the other, draw up our sides, guard our turf, and begin to regard each other through the bitter lens of mistrust. How did my friend Tony and I get from the mountaintop to the valley of the shadow of death? I'll be ever grateful my entire life long for our neighbor, Sandra Sample. She was that cool mom. You remember the cool mom in the neighborhood? And she saw how the two of us were like really suffering. And she came over, and I don't know what she did, whether she sprinkled pixie dust on us or whatever, but she just came in with fresh air. And she came in with an alternative narrative to the one that we had created for ourselves. Gave us a chance to laugh at ourselves and to see once again the goodness that was in the other. In the midst of strained relationships, be it personal or communal, Jesus offers us another way. Just when the evidence on the ground suggests that nothing good can come of this, Jesus kicks open the door wide and shows us the light and the possibility of a way home, a path that was right there before our eyes, though we could not see it on our own. This is where Matthew is spending so much of his time these days, talking with his community and us about creating a Jesus-like vibe where the way home is always possible for us, for everyone. When your brother or sister has sinned against you, seek him out, seek her out, have a talk, speak from your heart. If that doesn't work, bring a friend and speak from your heart with the support of another. If that doesn't work, bring it before the community. Most of us, especially those who are conflict averse, cringe when we hear this. We'd rather talk to a dozen other people over here about you-know-who than talk with you-know-who. However, you can't deny the wisdom of an honest conversation to try to sort things out, knowing that Jesus is going to be in the middle of it all every step of the way. Still, we would be wrong simply to understand this gospel as offering us dogmatic rubrics and rules of participation for community life. The more powerful interpretation in this text is to see in Matthew's wisdom that a community of faith is fundamentally a place where the possibility of Christ's continual forgiveness, healing, and joy is held out for us. It is what we deal in. Even that guy, even the one on the other side of the fence facing us down, God's forgiveness and love is for all of us. I think this is a particularly appropriate theme for us to think about on Homecoming Sunday. Apart from pep rallies and college football, what is homecoming meant to do? Reconnect us to ourselves and to one another. Isn't that what we've come to do today? Perhaps after a summer in which we haven't seen one another, we are looking to reconnect with one another. However, homecoming is not just an event that we celebrate once a year in the fall. Homecoming is the very essence of this place. Homecoming is every day, always. Always, because God's forgiveness and unconditional love is here every day, always, insisting, awakening, and breaking in upon us all. Those of you who may happen upon downtown Westport during the week will notice that we have a sign on the sidewalk that says, "All are welcome here." And we have those doors open, wide, both of those doors, saying to the waiting and watching world that this place is here for you and you are welcome. Come on in with your burdens. Come on in for a moment of quiet. Come on in and know God's love for you. I see those doors for me as like symbols of God's open and embracing arms saying to us all, you are welcome here, no exceptions. No matter where you've been, no matter what's going on, no matter what's happened in your life, whether you are hale and hearty or hanging on by a thread, you are welcome here. And when it is all said and done, I think that is fundamentally what a church ought to be about. To be a place where the doors of healing and hope are wide open, always. Doors that in other places may seem utterly locked and shut. So this morning I say to everyone here, welcome home. Welcome home. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, welcome home. Wherever you've been this week or this month or this year, welcome home. If you woke up this morning and said, God, everything is great, or if you woke up this morning and threw your feet on the ground and said, oh, my life, welcome home. Welcome home to our young, and welcome home to our young at heart. Welcome home, choir. We've missed you. Welcome home. Welcome home to this place where God's mercy is wide, where God's table is open, where there is plenty good food for all. Welcome home. There is no place like it. No place like it on earth. Amen.